George Benson is a 10-time Grammy-winning musician. He's not just known for his voice, but his masterful guitar playing. His hits include Like on Broadway and Breezin'. And in our Friday Arts segment, I asked Benson how it feels to be called one of the greatest jazz artists of all time.
It is an amazing thing, man, for someone to look at you with that much esteem. I never imagined it as I was coming up, but it feels good.
You started out as a child singer, is that right?
I was a singer. My mother's nickname was Sing, they called her that. She sang to me all the time. So singing was very natural for me.
Little Georgie, they called you, and you were singing in nightclubs at 8 years old?
Actually earlier, when I was 7 years old, and got in a lot of trouble. My folks got in trouble. They tried to take me from my parents, but we got out of that. And at 10 years old, I started making my first records.
It's called She Makes Me Mad?
That's right.
Let's listen to a little of it.
I've got a baby that fights me. Ooh, she makes me mad. She makes me mad.
10 years old.
Mad.
I mean, you clearly had this. I mean, this talent was oozing from you at an early age. Did you know that you were always going to be a performer, that you were always going to be a singer, a great guitarist?
I had no idea what it was I was doing. I did those things like eating and breathing.
So did 1976 just change your life? I mean, obviously you've been working at this for a long time, but you in some ways, it was the first time I ever heard of George Benson, and I think a lot of people had ever heard of George Benson. Did it change your life overnight?
It did. Miles Davis wanted me to join his band, and that's the greatest honor I could have ever imagined, right? My manager said, "You can't do it, George." And I said, "What are you talking about? I can't do it." They said, "Everybody thinks you're going to be bigger than Miles." I said, "What fool said that?" You know, I couldn't imagine it. And later on, Miles and I became very good friends. We started doing a lot of shows together.
Did you know that Broadway was going to be the big hit that it was?
It's the only record that I felt in my life that was really going to be a hit. Everything else was, you guessed at it. This sounds like it could be a hit. But on Broadway, we took the song home from the club we were working at, which was a club in Hollywood, and we played it. We couldn't take it off. We were playing it on the patio of the pool where we were staying, and every time it would end, somebody would holler out, "Play it again!" You know? So I knew for certain that it was going to be big. Here's the big thing that the world doesn't know: my producer, he lost the tune. He liked the version we did on the set earlier. And so he tried to play that for me, and I said, "Wait a minute.
That's not the one."
"Where is the one we did on Friday night?" He said, "George, I think we erased it." I got up and I walked out of the place, and he called me about 2 hours later. He said, "George, I think we found it." And I came back and I said, "Now, play the hit."
They say the women treat you fine on Broadway.
What do you think about R&B today, and how has it changed?
I think the greatest element you can have in any music is romance. I keep thinking about Pavarotti singing Nessun Dorma. So powerful, but yet you could feel the undertow was in the romanticism. And my biggest songs, the biggest one in my life, in my history of my career, is "Nothing's Gonna Change My Love for You." And everywhere we go in the world, people love that song. And then "In Your Eyes," the second biggest, and "This Masquerade." And then the biggest single I've ever had, surprisingly, is "Turn Your Love Around." Just an R&B, classic pop kind of thing with a nice beat underneath. I felt good about that song, and it turned out to be everything that I had hoped for and more.
Clearly, you're still singing in a big way, and you got a new album and a tribute to Nat King Cole.
You smile to tempt the lover, Mona Lisa.
When I listen to you sing Mona Lisa, it almost sounds like Nat King Cole. Did you try to do that?
All of my life since I was a little boy.
Oh, really?
And on the album, I said, I got to capture Nat, or else this is gone. This doesn't mean anything. So I got as close as I could at this point in my life. 20 years earlier, I would have been spot on. You wouldn't have been able to tell the difference.
Really? George Benson, it is a pleasure to meet you in person and have this chat with you. Thank you.
Pleasure's mine. Thank you for having me.